Hi everybody, my name is Yahya Nsangi and I work with an NGO known as Association Welfare, which is based in Lome, Togo. Association Welfare is a youth organization with branches in Tanzania, Togo, Senegal, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Benin, and the main objective is to involve young people in sustainable development issues. Association Welfare is based in Togo, as I've said, and it has some experience on marine litter, and some of its works can be accessed at the following links. The association is also a member of the African Group of Experts. Currently, we have three options on the table that have generated a lot of heated debate. The first option is the status quo option, which means we do nothing and hope that nature will be able to clean itself. The second option is use of existing mechanisms. And the third option is adoption of a new global instrument. Almost everybody agrees that option one is not acceptable due to the size of the problem and the severity of the problem. Therefore, the debate is currently centered on two options, option 2 and option 3. And we at Association Welfare, we do favor option 2 because we think option 2 is the most cost-effective option. It doesn't involve years of negotiations, and it also avoids delaying of actions. As we all know, when there are negotiations going on, some parties or stakeholders reduce their actions awaiting for the outcome of negotiations. We also believe that we have on the ground institutions and mechanisms that are capable of tackling this problem. For example, we have a group of experts at UNE office in Nairobi. We have the SICAM Secretariat, which has a lot of experience and have done very well. We have secretariats of the chemical conventions like BRIS. What we need to do is just to review their mandates and restructure their institutional mechanisms, and we are sure they will be able to deliver what we want them to do. In addition, option 2 will go down very well with the desire to have a global pact for the environment. We have concerns about option 3. First, it's an issue of time. Nobody is sure how many years it will take to reach an agreement. And we have a very good example, the Paris Agreement. It took us 21 years to agree. With the current marine litter and microplastics problem, we don't have the luxury of negotiating for even 3, 5, or 10 years, let alone 20 years. Secondly, nobody is sure if at the end of the negotiations, we will have a legally binding agreement. We can end up with a voluntary agreement. And SICAM is a good example. We started negotiating SICAM with the objective of having a legally binding SICOM. We ended up with a voluntary SICOM after 4 years of negotiations. There also exists a possibility that we may not agree at all. Theoretically, the first option would have been the best one, the road to paradise. But this road is full of potholes and too many risks. We cannot afford to spend 10 or 20 years talking and arguing about a treaty. We have to go straight to work. In order to do so, we need to establish a global program of action on marine litter with the following key elements. The first element is on principles. Principles such as the common but differentiated responsibilities, the principle of just transition, because some of our actions will impact negatively on people like workers in the plastic industry and women in the informal sector. It should also recognize the principle of equality, particularly gender equality. It must also take into account the polluter pays principle, the right to information, and the multi-stakeholder approach. The second element is management hierarchy. We should not lose focus that we have a source of this problem, and this is where we should concentrate our efforts, and then look at the pathways and the final target. The third element is on scope. Our GPA must recognize all the three pillars of sustainable development. So far, discussions are focusing more on environmental and economic pillars and little on the social pillar. It must also support Agenda 2030, and it must contain actions at all levels, from the global level down to the community level. It must also contain a wide range of solutions, because this problem cannot be solved by technological solutions alone. It needs social solutions as well as economic solutions. The fourth element is that our GPA must be based on this principle of circular economy. And the fifth element in our GPA should be on financial mechanism. It must have a balance between mitigation and adaptation. It must take into account the special needs of developing countries and countries with economies in transition, as well as developed countries' economies. It also must be adequate and long-term and easily accessible to all. The sixth component in our GPA should be on monitoring, reporting, and verification. It must be designed in a manner that it is capable of giving us the information that we need to make informed decisions. The seventh element is on capacity building, and this includes training, development and transfer of technology, research, and the establishment of the regional monitoring center, among other things. The eighth element should focus on the industry. In many initiatives and programs and international treaties, the role of the industry has always been restricted to self and voluntary initiatives. We need to expand this so that it covers financing and cleanup programs from the global level down to the community level. The ninth element in our GPA should be on governance. There must be a functional coordination mechanism at all levels and across all sectors. It must work as a team. We are responsible for the next generation, and we are expected to deliver on their behalf. For further information or consultation, please contact the person whose name appears in this slide. I thank you all for your attention.